Okay, this recipe isn't really anything that was set in stone. This was kind of something where I was like, okay, I want to make something gourmet, a little elevated. I don't want to order out. I want to have a good meal tonight. So I had this trout in the fridge, right? It looks just like salmon to me, but it's trout actually. And I wanted to cook the skin of it as well. Usually, I either take the skin off and just throw it out or cook it with the skin. But I wanted to bake the skin and make it crispy as like a garnish on top of the fish. So I had to really delicately take off the skin, and then I had to go in with my knife and remove any of that extra fish on the skin because I just wanted pure crispy fish skin. So that's what I'm doing here. And you know what? When I was editing this, I completely forgot what I even did because I made this recipe a few weeks ago. And I'm like, why did I want to save the fish on that skin so bad? And then I remembered, no, I wasn't being. I wanted to make something with the skin. Anyway, so I'm cutting the fish in half because this is gonna be for 2 servings, and I'm gonna be cutting this fish skin into 3. It was so funny. I made the fish skin. It was one of the first things that was done because it went in the oven first, and I tasted it. I've never had it, so I was like, I have to taste this while I was cooking, and I ate like 2 of the pieces before even being done, and you'll see at the end I forgot to record it. But anyways, so I put some salt on the fish skin and I'm putting it in the oven for a bit until it crisps up. So now I'm seasoning the fish with salt and pepper on both sides. And then this is my potato. With my potatoes, I'm going to be making something called fondant potatoes, which is a very elevated kind of side dish for potatoes. It's pretty much the potato, you cut it probably in 4s, and you make sure like the bottom and the top where it's round is not attached anymore. And then you're going to cook that in some oil on the pan until the outer edges of it get nice and crispy. Not too crispy, but golden brown. And then you put in some butter and some chicken broth, and then you throw that in the oven for a little bit under an hour, and it comes out with the potato perfectly cooked, super soft, and super flavorful from all that flavor from the chicken broth. So super easy actually to do. You saw it was just a few minutes on the stovetop, getting that crispy edge. Once you have the crispy edge, flip it, pour the chicken broth, and then you throw it in the oven. Come back to it later, and that's it. And it looks like this super elevated gourmet side dish. So next is gonna be the sauce for the fish. Here I am charring some tomatoes and some red bell peppers and some garlic. And now in a food processor, I'm putting in some almonds and all of that charred veggies from earlier, some salt and some pepper. I'm mixing it up. I had to add a little bit of water because it wasn't the consistency that I wanted, and then it was perfect. So here I go. I think earlier I only salted it to remove some of that, to make it cook evenly later. And now I'm actually seasoning it with my pepper and probably some all-purpose seasoning. So here I am taking my Brussels sprouts. I'm cutting the ends and then I'm just quartering them. And these are going to be cooked super deliciously. I actually have a recipe for Brussels sprouts with apples. To this day, the best recipe I've ever had for Brussels sprouts. Go check it out. It is so good. So for the sprouts, I'm just going to be putting some butter on a pan. I'm going to let that get very hot. Okay, no, that was not for the sprouts. That was for the trout. So I let it get very hot, and then I am putting the fish on there, and I'm going to cook that for a couple minutes on each side until both sides are nice and crispy. And to flip it, I'm being very delicate because you can see the ends right there are very thin, and they're going to be very easy to break. And that's another big reason why I salted it and I let it sit for a bit, because that salt really releases some of that moisture in the fish and just makes it hold up better when you cook it later. especially sauteing like this on the stove top and not baking. So once that's done, I'm taking that off of the stove, and now I'm checking out my potatoes. I'm gonna flip those so both sides can have that nice delicious chicken broth flavor. I'm pretty sure I just tasted that one that I picked up. And now I am going in with my butter. Now this is for the sprouts, so I was right about the butter. So I'm putting the butter in the pan, letting that melt, and then I'm going to be putting all my sprouts in there, and then I'm going to be seasoning it. And I believe I went in with some honey and some red pepper flakes for some nice flavor. With vegetables, I love vegetables, but sometimes I do like to spice them up and make them really cool tasting and different compared to just I actually really like the flavor, but sometimes it's fun. So here I am tasting a few to make sure that's the flavor that I like, because this is the first time I ever tried making anything like this, and I cooked these a little bit too much. The sprouts, later you'll see they're a little charred. The potatoes came out beautiful, so freaking delicious. I love how they came out. In the back you can see my romesco sauce, and here I am. It came out pretty chunky. This is how I wanted it. I'm laying some of that out onto the plate, and then I'm topping that with my trout, and I'm gonna be putting on the one side my fondant potatoes, and on the other side some of my Brussels sprouts. And you're gonna see I completely forgot to put the fish skin. I remembered at the last minute that I had fish skin because I ate 2 of the pieces, so that one piece was just laying around. But you're gonna see, and I gotta say, I love the addition of the fish skin. Do not forget it like I did. It was amazing, and I couldn't figure out which way it looked better. It was like styling it. Oh my god, it looks so good. Thanks guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.